Peace family, Queen here. Want to talk with you a little bit about the sell-off that we see happening with the Bitcoin ETFs. You know, everyone is, including myself, we're all like, when the ETFs are approved, we're going to see, huge green candles, so forth and so on. That is still the case. However, you have to look at a couple of things here, right? So when we look at, first off, let's look at the chart, right? We look at the Bitcoin chart. We see we're at 42 right now. We may test, 37.5, 38.5 before we start seeing the inflows of the capital that the institutional investors are holding on the sideline, waiting to get exposure to the Bitcoin asset. But I want you to check this out, right? So when you go down here, I'm on this article on Forbes, and if you go down, because right now the ETFs that have been approved, there's been 11 that's been approved, they are competing for capital. They're competing for capital, all right? Because they're all selling the same thing, right? So what can you compete on? Price. So when you look down here, here it is right here, all right? So it says, since the 11 funds launched Thursday are holding the same asset, one of the big differentiators will be the fees that investors are charged, okay? Now, the Grayscale Trust, which is now a Bitcoin spot ETF, has the highest fees, right? At 1.5%. They have the highest fees, but they have the lion's share of the market because they were the first to introduce a product which was a trust before, it turned into a spot Bitcoin ETF. They were the first to have such a product to give people exposure to the underlying Bitcoin asset, right? So they didn't have any competition. They have the highest fees. Some of those people, some of those investors are selling off right now. Why are they selling off? Because they can get the same product through the other 10 Bitcoin ETFs at a lower premium. So you see the Hashdex is 0.9. The VanEck is 0.2, 0.25%. 0.25% BlackRock's 0.25% with a fee waiver, which currently is 0.12%. So BlackRock is literally they want to take it all. You know how BlackRock is, right? BlackRock wants to take it all. So if you look in the market right now, if you look at the order books, there's no buying on the order books. It's nothing but sells. It's nothing but sells. And the large part of that is, stupid people that don't understand what's taking place. You have a small percentage of those retail investors, because they see the market going down in the red, they're selling too, just because that's just the mentality of people that are not, professional traders or institutional traders, right? Because if you just follow the main rule of trading is when people are selling, when the market is selling, you're buying. When the market is buying, you're selling. That's just, trading 101. So you have a couple of different things going on, but the bigger portion of what's taking place, in my opinion, is that folks, and not a large amount, because Grayscale, the GBTC, has not lost a lot of value. So, but there is a large enough portion of investors that were holding this particular product, and they're like, well, wait a minute, I can get the same, Bitcoin exposure for 0.12%. And, if you have a lot of capital in there, that's a huge difference. That's a huge difference. So this is kind of what we're seeing right now. Let's actually go here and let's pull up GBTC. Let's pull this up. And you'll see. Look at the volume here, right? Look at their volume from Thursday and today. Look at the volume. And it's all sells. It's all red, right? So, you know, that's what we're looking at. And obviously, you know, the institutional buys on the other ETFs, they're not happening right now. They're waiting to get to the bottom of the barrel to see the lowest entry where they can purchase their positions. So if you're in Bitcoin and you have a day trader mentality, this is not the right asset for you. Bitcoin is a long-term, long vision. You know, you get into Bitcoin because number one, you want to preserve your net worth. You want to preserve your purchasing power. It's the best store of value ever existed on the planet. And you have at least a 5 to a 10 year time horizon, right? You're looking for, you know, maybe 2 to 3 different bull run cycles before you're even thinking about selling your position. You don't, this is just my opinion. You don't come into Bitcoin with a day trader mentality, especially if you don't know how to trade. If you don't know how to trade, right? So anyways, that's my 2 cents, 2 Satoshis, if you will, in what's taking place. I'm definitely here for the long run, have been here for the long run, and will continue to be here for the long run. I won't even consider selling off any significant positions until I can find another asset that will give me a higher CAGR, combined annual growth rate, than Bitcoin. That's when I would even consider. And then there's a portion of Bitcoins that I have where I'm looking at maybe $250,000 per Bitcoin, maybe looking to sell off. But I may not even have a need once we get to that point for that particular capital, because I've got other investments that are producing capital and cash flow. So you have to really look at your portfolio. And again, Bitcoin, in my opinion, Bitcoin is not an asset that you want to look at from a day trader type of mentality. It's just not. It's not. All right, I'll see you all in the next videos.